is the truth finally out after 20 years that LETOYA Luckett's solo career was definitely sabotage, all because she was no longer with Destiny's Child? Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we're talking LETOYA Luckett, and I feel like now we can be honest about how her solo career was sabotaged, just like Ashanti's was, just like Kelly Rowland's was, just like A. Marie's was. If you were an R&B girly back then in the 2000 wow, and it was an opportunity, you know what I'm saying, for somebody. Listen. LETOYA Luckett, her debut album, listen, Torn and She Don't, was 10 times platinum. You know what I'm saying? For me. It went 10 times platinum for me. I don't know about y'all, but I wore those songs out when it came out. So it was the anniversary, the 20th anniversary of the release of LETOYA Luckett's debut album. And ultimately, she wanted to have some of her people on and discuss, you know, what it was like first doing her solo album. She wanted to talk about as well that she had some reservations or concerns about her voice because ultimately, you know what I'm saying, Destiny's Child was primarily dominated by Beyonce. Everybody knows that. Everybody could sing in the group, but, you know, Beyonce for the most part had primary vocals on everything, and it wasn't really until we saw the later albums when they became DC3 and everything else where we started to see more solo efforts with Kelly Rowland and Michelle. Ultimately, though, that is not what the tea is. That is not what the tea is. As you guys know, LETOYA Luckett was originally a part of Destiny's Child. And remember, there was issues amongst the group with her and Latavia as far as, you know, issues they had with Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles. And also the alleged rumor about, you know, potentially dating the Jagged Edge members and all of this and all of that. But ultimately, they were no longer a part of the group. And we famously realized that when the Say My Name video came out. And we were like, where's Latavia and LETOYA? Like, where did they go? You know what I'm saying? And so ultimately, that is when we saw Farrah and Michelle and everything else, and it kind of just like flipped the script. And ultimately, Latavia and LETOYA Luckett sued, and there's an undisclosed settlement or whatever the case may be. Fast forward, LETOYA wants to put out her solo records, right? Because she was a songwriter, a co-writer while she was with Destiny's Child. You know what I'm saying? She is a singer. She can sing. So we suspected that there was sabotage, but finally there are some people who are discussing the lengths that the sabotage was going. And for those reasons, we're going to take a watch and listen. As you guys know, I have to break up periodically throughout the recording here and there to give commentary in between for YouTube purposes and for my purposes and all the things, because I can't just play the whole 3-minute clip or whatever it is and everything else, because sometimes YouTube gets weird and tries to like flag your videos. So anyways, that is why I do what I do. But we're going to take a watch and listen, and like I said, I'm going to break up the clips throughout to kind of, you know, give commentary in between. So there is that, and this is courtesy of the Jasmine brand.
You remember, but I don't think you actually remember. And a lot of people don't know this. Like, we fought through a lot of fucking hate. Like, it was a lot. No. It was a lot of
I'll
hate.
let you speak on that. I can't really speak on
you
that.
can't really speak on it.
Oh, this is getting juicy already. What do you mean, LETOYA, you can't speak on it? Is there a non-disclosure agreement? Like, what is happening? What are we saying, right? And this is the thing. It's like, I feel like we're never going to get to at least what originally happened with the original members of Destiny's Child and everything else. I feel like we're never going to get the full story, unfortunately. and it feels like LeToya's not going to tell us anyways. Let's continue.
But I can speak on it.
Yes.
So, speaking on that, when your record went to radio, there was a call put in that if you play that record, you won't get no more records from this group.
I was not privy to that information.
Yes.
But you know what?
Raise your hand if you guys are shocked. Raise your hand wherever you're at. If you're at home, if you're at work right now, if you are in the car and you're not using, you know what I'm saying? If you're at a stoplight or at a light, just raise your hand. If anybody is shocked right now. It was clear as day that there was sabotage for LETOYA Luckett because people were not expecting her to come out the gate with Torn and have a hit. You know what I'm saying? And I believe her album was sabotaged in terms of what the sales could have been, how big she could have been with her solo efforts and all the things, because she has a lot of amazing songs, a lot of amazing stuff in her discography. But the fact that he specifically said, if you play her stuff, you're not going to hear from my group. Who do you think that sounds like? Let's put two and two together. Who do you think that sounds like? Because I think for a long time, people thought it's Beyonce that's doing all this sabotage. But ultimately, allegedly, it wasn't her, but it was somebody very close to her at one point in time that was doing all of this, that had all of the radio stations, was the one that was encouraging and showing Beyonce about having, the co-writing credits on songs and all of this and all of that, and doing all that campaigning, allegedly, with the Grammy board, so that there was more expansion of the R&B categories. And, that's how, certain people are always going to get a Grammy no matter what. And we're racking up all those Grammys. Let's continue. Allegedly.
That record fought through,
to God be the glory.
No, listen. That record fought through that. There was a mandate called up to the radio stations. Do not play that record.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? What? At the
end
I
don't
of the
know,
day,
you knew this one too, Toya. Remember when
I don't want to know anything else.
No, seriously. No. Remember
don't tell me. It's 20 years. Everybody's killed.
That reaction right there from LETOYA Luckett tells me everything I need to know. She knew that there was sabotage, but she probably didn't know the extent of the sabotage that took place against her solo career, against her succeeding, against her thriving, and all of the things. And her making that comment that it's been 20 years, we have all healed, but look how long it took the original Destiny's Child members to reunite. For real. It was Beyonce's Renaissance tour that was a few years ago. And I believe it was for the Houston date. But prior to that, you weren't seeing LETOYA like that. Now, I believe LETOYA and Kelly are cool or whatever the case may be. But I also peeped at these weddings. Who was there from the group? Nobody. But Tina Knowles went to LETOYA Luckett's, I believe, this last wedding she went to. So I found that pretty interesting. But let's continue.
Remember when songwriters were getting paid, right?
Yeah.
We sent a certain writer $20,000, remember, to do a record. You don't remember? I'll say the nigga name, Sean Garrett. Remember?
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Hey.
Yeah.
How do we get them off?
Yes.
How do we get them off?
Listen.
How do we get them off? Oh, shit.
Hold on. Listen.
Supposed to be a celebration.
Toya. No. This is real talk. I'm just saying how dope you had to be and how dope these records had to be for you to break through. Yeah. So, Sean called me and was like, "Yo, bro, I can't do that record." I was like,
"Yeah, I remember that. Now that I remember."
I said, "What the fuck are you talking about? You can't do the record. You got the money." He was like, "Man, I can't do the record."
So Sean Garrett did a lot of work on Destiny's Child, Destiny Fulfilled album. You know what I'm saying? With DC3. and also did some Beyonce records as well, such as Check on It and Diva. You know what I'm saying? So, but allegedly he was a part of Girl. He was a part of Beyonce's Green Light. He was a part of Is She the Reason? He also produced a Kelly Records song like this, and those are just some examples. Soldier, T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? But all of these records are without, LETOYA LUCKETT, when LETOYA LUCKETT was a part of the group. So that's just an example. I just wanted to focus in on just the Destiny's Child and Beyonce related records, just to kind of give y'all an idea of why Sean Garrett, even though he was allegedly paid 20 thou wow, basically had to say, I cannot do it. I cannot do it because, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be in trouble. So let's continue.
Said, listen, I said, Shake, because Shake hooked us up. Shake hooked me up with Sean. So I said, Shake, you just need to set up a meeting, and I need to go meet Sean. I need to go to the studio and see this nigga. I went down to Atlanta, went in the studio with him. I was like, Sean, what are you doing? What are you talking about? You can't do this record. He was like, man,
But you know what? At the end of the day, Sean is very successful.
No, that's my man. I love him to death. He was honest with me. He was like,
incredible records for some incredible artists. And as a matter of fact, to put that to bed and put a pin in that, I remember being at a studio in Atlanta.
LETOYA LUCKETT, I wanted to hear the rest of the story. What does Sean Garrett have to say? What does Sean Garrett have to say? We know that he's done several hits for several artists. Amazing records. That's not the issue at hand. I want to get into what he was told. Because if it is allegedly from other genders, then we got to have a conversation. We have to have a conversation. And ultimately, it ended up not working out after the fact, several years into Beyonce's solo career, to where she had to make a decision and fire her father. Because she realized there was some sabotage stuff or some janky stuff going on, you know what I'm saying, with him. But ultimately, the bottom line is, LETOYA LUCKETT, yes, you have been blessed both in your music career as well as really your acting career. You've been doing your big one. But I feel like it's important for people to understand when y'all were asking questions, oh, why isn't A. Marie bigger? Why isn't LETOYA LUCKETT bigger? Why isn't Ashanti bigger? What happened to Maya? There was a time in the early 2000s era where there were all these R&B girlies that were putting out hit records. And out of nowhere, one by one, everybody was dropping like flies. And it made zero sense. There allegedly used to be a website that kind of explained how the sabotaging was working. And that site got shut down. But it broke down how all of these girls, Kelly Rowland, LETOYA LUCKETT, Ashanti, Nivea, A. Marie, Maya, everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was busting out these hits. These weren't like one-hit wonders. They had hits. They had tracks out here. You know what I'm saying? They had bops that have aged well today, that are still in rotation in my Apple Music queue. You know what I'm saying? So all of them one by one, unfortunately, dropped. And it wasn't fair. Or if they continued to put out music, it wasn't going to be as successful compared to others. Or what famously happened with Kelly Rowland, she was supposed to originally do a more R&B hip-hop type of album, especially with the success of her and Nelly's Dilemma. Guess who told her to go in a different direction? And then you see the later records that Kelly Rowland is doing, like Kisses Down Low and on all this and all that, That should have been the type of content and the type of music that was on her first record. And I think I'll stand by it. I think she just got bad advice because she was being sabotaged. She was getting, just like, you know what I'm saying? And LETOYA Luckett, they were scared of her star power. They were scared of her dominating because there are unfortunately some people who feel that there's only room for one person to succeed. Unfortunately, some people feel if there's too much competition, if there's too much people out here who can perform, who have the total package, the intangibles as an artist, they don't want to see you shine. They don't want to see you win. And if you're out the way, if we can sabotage your radio play, if we can sabotage your album sales, if we can make sure you don't win any Grammys or you don't win any awards, or if we can just keep you limited to urban radio and urban success, but not mainstream success. Oh, also Sierra, I forgot Sierra too. If we can just keep you, with urban success and not mainstream success, then we got it. Then we figured out a way to keep you at a certain level so you do not get that mainstream success, that superstar success that you were entitled to. And it really sucks that this happened to so many of these ladies who are talented, who had hit records, who had a lot of songs in their discography that were bops, you know what I'm saying? But then there was that period of time where they all started to disappear. And either they had to pivot like what Maya did as an independent artist, because they just flat out lied on Maya and tried to make it seem like because she allegedly didn't want to hook up with somebody, put out a bad label that she's bad to work with, that she's bad for business. No. You tried shooting your shot and got rejected. So because you got rejected, you decided, oh, Maya's bad for business, don't work with her. No. But that was the shadiness of this music industry. And to have that type of power to where you can call up these radio stations and tell them, hey, you're not going to get anything from my group if you play anything LETOYA Luckett, that's sabotage. And not just the radio stations. You're coming down to these black writers and producers that worked with Destiny's Child and is still today working with Beyonce, telling them, I don't care how much money LETOYA Luckett's team or anybody else's team pays you, you're exclusive to me. You can't do it. Because here's what really is being said. If you do a hit record for LETOYA Luckett that potentially can outshine what my group is doing, that's bad on me. And my thing is, the group was talented anyways. So really, any writer and producer can get a hit. But what happened is, you know what I'm saying? You wanted to gatekeep certain songwriters and producers and specifically keep them from working with other artists because you didn't want those other artists to outshine anybody. And that is really unfortunate. The time where we had Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey all going head to head, and everybody's got an ego, but nobody was trying to sabotage each other. You know what I'm saying? Instead, it was a competition. Oh, you put out that album? Okay, watch me come back with this album. Oh, you did this type of a tour? Okay, let me come back and do this type of tour. It wasn't, oh, let me shut you down so you can't have no more music, or if you do have music, it's not going to be as good as mine. No. Or I'll shut down the radio stations so they can only play my music and not yours. That's not how this is going to go. That's how, you know what I'm saying, when we had so many record labels back then, where, again, a lot of black artists were being prioritized back then. Everybody was grinding. Everybody was working hard. Everybody was putting out these hits. And it's really unfortunate the state that we are in now with R&B and just with music overall that you look back at that era in that early 2000s when all those R&B girlies were really shaking the table and stepping on people and everything else. And then, like I said, one by one, you just didn't hear from them again. You did not hear from them again. And then on the flip end, they would have pop girls come out using the same type of style and the same type of producers and beats that should have went to these R&B girlies, because that was the thing too. It was fine to sabotage the black women, but the pop girlies, you know what I'm saying, they could get Pharrell too. They can get, you know, these big names as well. They could get Sean Garrett. Sean Garrett also worked with the Pussycat Dolls. You know what I'm saying? So that's okay. You can work with Pussycat Dolls, but you can't work with LETOYA Luckett. No. So anyways, that is it for this video. I want to hear from y'all. I want y'all to do y'all biggest one, and that is to hype the video. Hype the video, please. There is that. That is it. That is all. It's Toto says final. It's finito. It's the end of the road. It's the end of the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post the content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.